Anglogold Ashanti have been told the company is not breaking even and therefore needs the next 2 years to do care and maintenance of its existing ores. The mine, we're told, has been operating for over 100 years and the maintenance works will prolong its operations for another 17 years. Are we heading for a total collapse? Now, the latest we have on this is that some residents of Sanso in the Obuasi West community are resisting any full-scale mining attempts by Anglogold into their community, and we're joined on the telephone line now by Erastus Asari Donko, who is a multimedia journalist at Love FM. Good evening, Erastus, and thanks for joining us on today's big story.
Good evening, Steve.
So you reported earlier that there been massive resistance of residents in some of the communities in Obuasi and Obuasi West about Anglogold making incursions or mining explorations into their community. Can you give us a rundown of this situation quickly?
Well, it follows the forum that the company held yesterday, and some of the residents at Sanso are not really happy that the company is coming back to its tailings in the area, which they explain that could mean disaster for them, because they claim that when Anglogold started surface mining in the area, they used dynamite, they were blasting and all that, their walls were cracking, they had dust coming into the community and all that. So they are expressing fear that once they have started coming back to the tailings there, it's possible they will be experiencing this again, and that is what they are trying to prevent.
Right, so, I mean, we're looking at over 6,500 people, workers, being laid off. I mean, what have the workers been telling you of this layoff, which is huge, really?
Well, actually, the workforce is now 6,500. That's the workforce of Anglogold Ashanti.
Yeah.
Now, they are retrenching 415 from now to August. And then they are also expected to retrench a further about 1,800.
Right.
So we are talking about a minimal number of people to be kept there working, you know, with the tailings that they are talking about.
Now, sure. Go ahead.
Now, the workers, they do not have any problem. They are saying that, okay, if you're going to pay our severance packages and you let us go with some amount of money, which some people are anticipating between 50,000 Ghana cedis and all above and all that, then we are okay. We will take the money and we will leave and find something with our lives. But there are people who are also saying that the local economy there will break down, and because the local economy is built around Anglogold Ashanti, it has been so for so many years. There are no jobs within the town. Already they have started experiencing the shocks from workers being laid off. And so it's going to get worse, and they fear Obuasi is going to become a ghost town in the near future.
So, I mean, when we look at the Obuasi community and the fact that about 400 are to be laid off for a start, when you see how the town, the whole community has survived, does it look like without mining the town can survive anything at all?
Without mining, I'll tell you, the town will collapse. And that is the fear of many, including government agencies there. Without the mining, businesses will start moving out of the town. People will start moving out of the town because there will be nothing to do. Farmlands have been degraded, so there is nothing to go back to. And without galamsey, which of course is banned at the moment, they will not survive. There will be nothing else to do. And all these companies, all these supermarkets, all these banks and other things survive on the mining company and the galamsey going on. So that is the nature of the problem there.
Right. So what have the Anglogold officials been telling you, really?
Well, they are saying that they are not shutting the mine down. They have all that they've left over for years behind. It's like food that you've eaten and left over, but they still think that there is still some nutrients in there to extract, and so they are going back to it. And that is at Sanso. That's where the majority of these deposits are. And so they are going back to the tailings. They are going to work with the tailings for the next 2 years while they develop the underground mine, while they find new ways of extracting remaining ore that could last for about 17 years. If they are able to do that successfully within the next 2 years, then there is hope that the mining company will bounce back on its feet and the town will enjoy the benefit. But if they are not able, then it's possible that the dwindling fortunes will cause the local economy to collapse as well.
Right, thank you very much. Erastus Asari Donko is a multimedia journalist with Love FM, and now we're getting onto the other phone lines to speak to Prince Henry Ankra, who is the mine workers. William Ankra, who is with the Mine Workers Union. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us on today's big story.
Yeah, good evening, sir. How are you? I'm the General Secretary of the Union. Yeah.
General Secretary of the Union. I'm very grateful that you could make time for us. Now, the situation looks a bit dire. The reports we get is that 400 people will be laid off for the start, and then subsequently up to about 2,000 of the total 6,500 workforce could go home. This is bad news for the mine workers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a major blow for a union that virtually leans on membership. Obviously, I was trying to derive a membership and a capitation. The dues that we give a membership was suspicion. But the third right is that, we could as well be inward looking and obviously say, hey, that cannot come on. But then in the medium and long term, it's going to hit our dear country struggling to really make inroads against the backdrop of making sure that the nation will prepare ourselves to really be a middle-income country, making sure that we'll do our various economic constraints. So Anglo's situation now is just dicey. And it's like having really had a cancer disease and you've been asked to go through all the sort of, chemo tests and you declare, I'm not going to do it. Eventually, it eats up and, you're going to die. So we are compelled to just see eye to eye with the business leaders because if we don't fix the issue in the medium and long term, Obuasi could go bust, and I can assure that at that time in point, you have a major national asset that will not be attractive to anybody.
But how did it get to this? How did it get this bad? I mean, the company is saying that it needs about 2 years to do care and maintenance work for existing ores, and I mean, for operating for 100 years. I mean, how did it get to this point?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think that actually it's all boiled down to corporate complacency. I mean, the problem was known for a start. I would liken this to the North Sea oil disaster, where the oil gurus knew the problem, but they kept procrastinating. The situation in Obuasi had been known for years that you need a thorough capital injection. Anglo ought to have done this for the very outset that they took when they built them from the year 2004. But I'm saying that virtually, as a result of what they put in, it's a question of let's see how far we see how it goes. But, if they have done that down the line, I'm sure that it will really ease the pressure that confront them today. In any given situation, mining said that as soon as development catches up with mining, you are constrained to the extent that you go and promise the market, I'm going to make 600,000 of gold a year, and you end up doing 50,000. And no market will take you serious. So then, obviously, if you're not careful on the stock market, you can go past and you can be on hold. So that's what it is. And I think that it's an eye-opener because virtually as soon as you notice a problem, you might be able to put your head to and give a head-on attack. So I'm sure that having can this fight, it's evident that if we don't go that route, we'll really be procrastinating the problem and eventually we'll end up paying dear for it. So it's a painful exercise. To stay with that, I wish that, this had started years ago, so by now would have really seen where we stand. But I believe that if they are honest and they do the right thing, 2 years is not really far from now. We'll bounce back and we'll see a very vibrant, sustainable business operations.
Now, when I spoke to you earlier, you made mention of investment to ensure that, these communities or businesses will survive beyond mining. Did it mean that you feel that for the years that Anglogold has been operating in its current enclaves, it has refused to invest into other core areas which will still bring viability, economic viability to these communities?
Yeah, I think that primarily it's not Anglo per se. It could date back several years in the case of AGC. It's our dear country, Ghana, obviously got it wrong. Trust me. And I think that actually it's an eye-opener. If we really had a foresight from the federal government that, look, the royalties and other benefit in terms of taxes that get done to national pockets, we could as well look back and reinvest part in the of what the economy, create a buffer enclave, a more sustainable enclave would have come very far. Let's take California example. It's a Nigerian place. What are we seeing today? When they saw the gold nugget and went to the gold rush, they knew it was going to end one day. Today, what are we seeing? It's a buffer organization. That buffer enterprises are really found there, including what is our latest holiday hub, and the infrastructure was really prepared that in the event of this situation, they will not really cry wolf. We lost out, so the question to ask ourselves, if we send this, when Anglo bounces back as a state, where do we intend putting mining with state? Do we intend putting international kitty and leave this township to look richer beyond mining? Or as Nkoma did in Takwa, where they had, like sponsored ties and glass factory, even though they are eventually not functioning today. We could definitely look at businesses through PPP and other related areas.
Ms. Ankra, I'm told that I've been joined on the line by the Mines and Natural Resources Minister, Alhaji Nusuf Hussaini. I'll hold you briefly and have a chat with him, and then I'll return to you. Good evening, sir, and welcome to today's big story.
Good evening, Stephen. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Now, we're not too happy seeing that over 6,500 workers stand the possibility of losing their jobs. 400 are going to go for the start. Now, how did we as a country sit back and wait till it got this bad?
Well, this is a commodity that is affected by forces beyond our control. The gold price tumbled sometime last year, tumbled without a warning. The companies that were operating have had to adjust and restructure. Obuasi has been hard hit by the collapse of the gold prices. They are adjusted to so that they can continue to be afloat and wait for times that gold prices will bounce back.
Right now, but it does appear that this has not just been an issue of international gold price fluctuations, but more to do with core planning. I mean, management of gold resources in the country hasn't been done too well. And here, residents of one of the communities, Asanso, are now saying that they will resist any attempt for Anglogold to return to their concessions in their areas. I mean, this is a larger problem than just international gold prices.
Well, I will not engage in these discussions over whether or not the community will have the right to resist Anglo to return to the mining site. This is a country of law, and so that is not a matter that I can engage in now. Except to say that, yes, many people have argued that since Ghana discovered gold and by the colonialists, and gold mining has taken place over a period of 100 years. The mining itself has not benefited the people in ways that they are expected to question whether we...
Yeah, I'm listening, sir. Hello, sir. I think we lost Alhaji Nusuf Hussaini. We'll try and raise him back on the line, but I still have Prince William Ankra, who is the General Secretary of the Mine Workers Union, still on the line. So, Prince, you heard me put the question to the Minister whether we've done well or not with management of gold generally in Ghana. I mean, as representative of the Mine Workers Union, do you feel that mining in general has been given due consideration to ensure sustainability and, to make people still have their jobs over several years?
Yeah, I think that traditionally, the reality is that when Dr. Nkrumah took over the rest of this country, the State Gold Mining Corporation were going to really fold out, but he said he resisted, and he did resist it as well. Virtually, those mines ran for several years until it became cash-driven. And those mining companies, Anglogold, Prisia, the dredging, Dunkwa, and Takwa were virtually doing everything within the economy. For instance, Prisia was really just seeing everything done by the mining coast. So to a large extent, under the state mining regime, it did address the situation of making sure that the community mutual coexisted with the business, and a lot of things came into play.
Right.
But that changed over time.
The
bigger glass was what we lost out. It was all short-term and ad hoc in scope. I always want to use the case of California as a key example. It's Nigeria.
Right, we've lost the General Secretary of the General Minerals Mines Workers Union, and we still have on the line Alhaji Yusuf Hussaini, who is the Mines and Natural Resource Minister. Well, we lost both of them. This is today's big story, and we're discussing the problems in Obuasi as over 400 workers face the possibility of losing their jobs through retrenchment. As the company says, it requires 2 years to start care and maintenance of its existing ores. Obuasi has been operating for the past 100 years, and we're told that the maintenance will ensure that it can operate for another 17 years. Residents of Asaso in Obuasi West are also saying they are resisting any attempts for Anglogold to return to the community. Alhaji Yusuf Hussaini, a Natural Resource Minister, is back on the line. So, sir, we lost you earlier, but I was saying that looking at the fact that many of these communities do not have a lot to show as, benefits of mining operations in their communities, what should we be thinking moving forward?
Well, like I said earlier, I mean, when the line dropped, many people have questioned the strategy, the model of exploitation of our natural resources, and the fact that the exploitation has taken place for over a period of 100 years, and nothing is there to show by way of concrete infrastructure or benefits that have derived from mining activities in Ghana. And so people are beginning to say, and led by our president, that this is the time to look for value addition, beneficiation to be the way forward. That's good what benefits the people. That's why the country is looking at promulgating laws. As I speak to you, we are developing the Minerals Development Fund to ensure that the mineral royalties are spent or used in ways that will complement the government's efforts at providing infrastructure in mining communities where the mining activities take place. So there are a lot that we are doing presently to at least account for the exploitation of our natural resources and revenues driving therefrom.
You're also reported to have said that Anglogold has a lot of questions to answer. I mean, what kind of engagement is government having with Anglogold over this what appears to be a crisis, really? Well,
our engagement of Anglogold started as far back as February this year, when at the invitation of Anglogold, we visited Obuasi mines, toured the mines, and engaged with them on what they intended to do to put the mine back in operation, and also to ensure that any decision that we're going to take will not adversely affect economic activities in Obuasi and the workforce over there at Obuasi. Subsequently, Anglogold has presented a draft plan to us on how they intend to seek our consent to amend the mining operations in Obuasi, and we are presently sitting the same. We did, at the time that we went there, raise issues as to how to secure the integrity of the mine, how to ensure that even if compensation or severance packages are paid to the workers will not be hard done by the closure unduly. And we also sought guarantees from Obuasi, Anglogold, Ashanti, as regards the temporary closure of the mine, as to how and when they will reopen after the closure. Granted that we permitted them to put the mine under care and maintenance, a limited care and maintenance period.
Right.
So these are issues that we have raised. We know that the whole economy, indeed the whole town of Obuasi, revolves around the mine. And so the implications for a permanent closure or a closure beyond the period that is speculated would have dire consequences on the people of Obuasi and also the country's economy. And so these are the matters that we are working closely with Anglogold to build consensus on how to proceed on this matter in ways that will secure shared value, shared prosperity to the country and to Anglogold Ashanti.
Right. Thank you very much. Alhaji Yusuf Hussaini is the Mines and Natural Resource Minister. We're grateful for your time. We're also joined on the other telephone line now by Mr. Suleiman Okone, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. Good evening, sir, and thanks. Good evening, and thanks for joining us here, sir.
Good evening.
This doesn't look good. I mean, I don't need to start saying it again. But what happened before Anglogold decided that it's time to lay off workers and then start what it calls maintenance, care and maintenance of existing ores? I mean, couldn't this be done alongside with the existing workforce?
No, but naturally, if you are reorganizing, you are restructuring, then naturally nothing, you don't expect to go ahead full steam as before. Normally, when you are restructuring, the operation, the entire operation is actually impacted, and you would have to look at the input which go into production. So
Anglogold needs restructuring. Why?
No, they are restructuring because the mining plan has changed. The mining business has changed as far as resources are concerned, and you cannot, close your eyes and decide to go on as usual. So I think they are doing something which is quite pragmatic. It may be helpful in the short term, but naturally in the long term, it will be more beneficial.
So these people that are expected to be laid off, are they supposed to return?
No, there may be some return. There may be some of them may have to go back to the mine because, after the restructuring and makeover of certain portions of the mine, they will certainly need some more hands. So some of them would be engaged.
So really, yeah.
Not all of them. I don't believe that all of them will be engaged.
Right. So really, it means that Anglogold is downsizing, and very soon, perhaps its operations in Ghana will be reduced to the barest minimum. Because if 400 are going, and then there is the risk that over 2,000 workers could be affected, what are you going to work for from now on?
What are they going to?
No, I'm saying that I get the impression that Anglogold is downsizing its operations in Ghana. So how small are you downsizing?
I don't think they are downsizing. I think what they are doing is right sizing. So they are looking at the numbers. They are looking at numbers which will fit the operations. So it is not a question of downsizing. It is right sizing. The size of the numbers of inputs, including labor, should suit the process of what they intend to do. So you cannot hold more than necessary.
And so, I mean, I want to believe that in doing this, the Anglogold Ashanti had some kind of interaction with you, the Chamber of Mines. I mean, what agreement or consensus did you come to before beginning the process of retrenchment?
I think there's been lots of discussions among stakeholders, including in government, as the Honorable Minister had alluded to, that Anglogold Ashanti will not go ahead and do whatever it has done recently without consulting stakeholders, particularly government, and the unions, and then even traditional authority and its vendors. So there's been lots of discussions. But for us, we are looking to the medium to long term. And whatever would be done to ensure the long-term viability of the mine is something we have to look at. Whilst we are mitigating the immediate impact, I think this is the way we want to look at it.
So long-term viability, how are you hoping that this so-called long-term viability will be beneficial to the economy and the operations of Anglogold?
What it therefore means is that eventually the mine would be on its feet, and once it's on its feet, the value it presents to various stakeholders, including government and communities and then its vendors and the traditional authority, within which it works, all of them would continue. They would continue to benefit from the mine. But don't forget that if the Anglogold Ashanti decides to go on as usual, the mine may have to go into a halt. And if it does happen, naturally, lots of stakeholders would be adversely affected. So it is in our interest to ensure that even as they make over certain portions of the mine, because believe you me, the mine is not going to shut down completely.
Right.
They're going to reduce numbers, they're going to right size, and then the mine will continue to operate.
Right, thank you very much.
Ultimately, to operate more efficiently.
Right, thank you very much, Suleimanu Kone, Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Mines. You say that the mine is not going to shut down totally. It will right size and perhaps come back stronger. Let me wrap up with you, Prince William Ankra, who is the General Secretary of the Mine Workers Union. So, I mean, moving on, I mean, what's the mood? Can you first tell me what the mood is among your members who are about to lose their jobs, really?
Yeah, I think that it is indeed a state of desperation, having been around, having known the nature of our economy and the extent that jobs are hard to come by. Having spent most of your time in an industry of a company of that nature, virtually, you have to say, hey, when next? Yeah, people with some good skills. My union organizes the senior of the metallurgists, mining engineers, mine planning engineers, those two. So those are high schools that they can secure their future elsewhere beyond the borders of Ghana. Some of the artisanal junior workers can as well find their feet. But they are typical, obviously, mine workers that will struggle to secure a kind of future around until some jobs come around the mine. So we hope that eventually in the process they will find their feet. We are collaborating with some employers in our industry to see how they can easily use their expertise to a large extent. But I have a feeling that most of that will secure good future beyond the borders of Ghana. What that will mean is that miners.
So when you say beyond the borders of Ghana, you're thinking that many of your members would migrate and travel outside to see greener pastures.
Those the senior range that we organize, the professional managerial staff union colleagues, of course, their competencies, that miners skills is very scarce across the world, even though there's a seemingly slowdown in the industry worldwide. But hey, skills are very important, and that will mean so that skills become very scarce when almost Anglo bounces back, and it will go for a very competitive price, which is something that we are excited about. So it's a bit of sweet and sour approach, but we are seriously urging them to stay focused. We need to make sure that money that get in their pocket are used for good purposes so that they don't go broke over the short term.
Right. We're very grateful, Prince William Ankrah, General Secretary of the Mine Workers Union. This is where we draw the curtains for today's big story. We'll be right back with the interactive segment, and I will